Here the people only meet to walk. With aim, walk.
I can see my neighbors watching through the window if I'm gonna put the trash into the right container.
I come at 6:15.
15?
Oh.
Too late.
What is one stereotype about Germans that you think is true?
Most Germans always like to be on time.
They need to plan everything and they like to have it in order and clean.
Do you like to plan everything?
No! I'm sorry, I hate it. I hate
The
it.
German humor.
I don't know.
I'd say that we're probably always on time, or we want to be on time.
We are very punctual. I think also that we're tolerant with punctuality, so if you arrive a little bit late, it's not that big of a deal. But if you don't text or let us know that you're going to be running late, that's when we get a little bit annoyed.
If we make a plan and I come at 6:15.
15?
Yes.
Too late.
Yeah, it's totally too late.
What if I wrote you and said I will be 15 minutes late?
Okay, that's okay.
That's okay.
Biggest problem with Germany, planning. I hate planning. I don't plan anything.
So it must be hard for you to live here then.
Yeah, that's why I leave from time to time. Last winter I spent 6 months in Mexico, which was more feeling real.
How far ahead do you usually have to schedule if you have to see somebody?
I guess 1 week. If you want to go to the park, a friend is going to look in their calendar because all the Germans have calendars. I am used to it right now. Like I have Google Agenda, I have calendars, paper calendar, cell phone calendar, and I put everything there. And then I say, okay, in this day I can meet with a friend, and this other day we can grab a coffee. I try to keep spontaneous, but if I don't do it, I cannot see anybody.
I'm visiting my friend here now in Munich. And if I meet with friends in the Netherlands, we just see whatever happens. And he prepared all the food and looked into activities which we can do. And that's like a more German approach to it.
Everything is planned.
I'm really organized. Not all people. So.
No, I know some messy people as well. Ich bin nicht organisiert.
No. Okay.
I understood that.
We love when people come on time because for me it's unrespectful when you're not in time.
Everything is super organized. Most of the time you can depend on the system that it works. Maybe with some exceptions like Deutsche Bahn. But some of the things which I find a little bit troubling is sticking too much to the rules. And everyone feels entitled to correct you and tell you what's the right thing to do. They might even feel the need to call the cops on you just for the slightest thing you can do. You didn't separate your trash correctly, or you were maybe loud on a Sunday. It's as fragile as they would complain about the way you walk in your apartment. So you should be wearing house shoe, otherwise you're too loud.
I live here for more than 3 years, and every time when I bring the trash to the container, I can see my neighbor is watching through the window if I'm gonna put the trash into the right container. And if I do the mistake even once, she's gonna take that trash, bring to my door, and leave it a note. And I mean, you can basically live being a perfect neighbor for 5 years, but if once in a blue moon you do a mistake, I don't know, being drunk, having bad day, whatever, they're gonna notice and they're gonna tell you this.
One thing that I think has been the hardest is the treatment that you get from people. I have never been treated as poorly as I have from people that you pay services to, the people that are supposed to be working for you. Random people on the street, Germans are more often than not in a bad mood.
They are very, very straightforward. They don't sugarcoat anything, and for such a sensitive person as I am, it's pretty difficult to live here, I can tell. They can tell you that your project is shit, that it's not interesting. I have received some questions like, why are you wearing like that? Looks strange. Why did you cut your hair like that? Looks weird. Or it looks interesting, which doesn't sound like a compliment.
Maybe one of the cultural shocks that I've had was how comfortable German people are with nudity. In a gym, for example, where everyone is just changing in front of everyone, and also the showers are almost never separated. It's always one big shower.
Greece, culture is open, we are very talkative, but we are also a little bit more conservative. Nudity, for example, is not a big deal in Germany, it's a big deal in Greece. But hospitality is more easy in Greece than in Germany, so it's kind of switched, Here, you don't mind what the other person does. There is no much criticism, judgment. You do you, but they wouldn't go out of their way to personally cater for something that they will see you need,
One stereotype is that the German people are not friendly, but I don't think that.
Maybe a bit cold at the beginning, not easy to be friendly with.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what we say. I mean, that Germans are a bit more, maybe harder to break the shell, but then once you get in, I think it's, you have long-term friendships.
You're Bolivian German.
Yes, I am German Bolivian.
German Bolivian. Which side of you do you think is more Latin American and which side of you is more German?
German, I think I noticed that with my son, the way I raise him, I don't cut him a lot of slack. As Latinos, we're just extremely warm, and I miss that. I would go to kindergarten and see my son, and I would get down on my knees and hug him and kiss him, and the other kids would come and want the same affection from me, which I would naturally, obviously give. And then I was called up by the teacher saying that I could not do that.
What I see here, that maybe people start talking to each other a bit easier. Because, for example, yesterday we have a lot of chit-chatting with a lot of different people in the S-Bahn and stuff like that. It's less like that in the Netherlands. I think maybe because the Netherlands is a bit more digitalized, that people are not used to talking to strangers that much anymore. For example, on the terrace you often have to order with a QR code and stuff like that. Maybe that's like a small difference as well.
Making friendships is kind of hard because they are a little bit close, but as soon as you get used to it, they get used to you. They are really, really reliable friends. They are really open to take you as part of the community as long as you learn. You can speak a little bit of the language and you're open to be integrated. In Brazil, we have this too much positive. For example, if you are at a party and you say, let's book a trip for next week, but then you don't see each other never again. And in Germany, I guess the friendships last.
I don't think that the Spanish people going too much outside to do sports or something like this. Here is that. Our culture in Spain is eating and drink. Here no, here the people only meet to walk. With aim, walk. In Spain the aim, eat or drink.
I think Germans are the best engineers.
Are you an engineer?
Yes, so we two study together engineering. It's a recommended topic, so a lot of Germans study engineering and they are pretty good in it.
Socks with, I don't know the English term for sandals. Sandals, a very German style, yeah.
Is it still the very German style, or is that more like your parents?
It's more like the older generation.
It's coming back to the younger generations.
But only the weird people do it, I would say.
And what is one stereotype you don't agree with when it comes to Germans?
That they are all Nazis.
So not all, just some?
No, not anymore. It's the opposite is the case. I think there's no country where you can live better as a foreigner than Germany.
Why is that?
Because of the past. Whenever there's a conflict with somebody from another country, people are very careful. That's the problem we have right now with refugees. Some refugees taking advantage of this fact and do one thing after the other. The Germans won't complain anything. That's one problem. And there is one other problem. This gives power to the right people again. So we are in a tricky situation.
Every German has an eye on when he spends money. He's very focused on not spending so much and wants to get his money back as soon as possible. I think the Germans are more chilled in this topic than a lot of people think.
That Germans don't understand humor. I think we have a very particular kind of humor that maybe not everybody understands, but I think Germans can be really funny when you get to know them, obviously. They need some time for warming up.
What's different about German humor?
I think it's very dry humor, maybe not in situations where you would expect it.
What do you think that Germans don't have a sense of humor?
Not the same as us, I guess.
My sense of humor is very good, so I have it. So
I think we're actually funny, maybe in a different kind of way, and maybe sometimes we need to warm up with people.
I have the opinion that we have a good humor, but I think many people from other countries think that we don't have this nice humor. I don't know.
What is something that you really like about living in Germany?
It's the freedom that I feel living far away from home. I come from a very closed culture. You always feel like you're under a magnifying glass, right? Anything that you do.
How has Germany changed you as a person?
I am a really chaotic person, and especially I grew up in a culture we're not encouraged to make so much plans, but here it changed me that I'm happy with planning and I'm happy with knowing that the next weekend I have something to do and I planned it, and to be on time. This is something that changed a lot my life.
I think it made me maybe a little bit more structured, more straightforward. If I want something or if I expect something, I just communicate it directly. Yeah, I think this is very German, because usually even me before, I used to double check on people are we still okay for tomorrow? Are we still doing this? But this is something that you wouldn't do in Germany. If you agreed on doing something, you don't have to agree twice.